So what is your spiritual growth and development plan? Um, I've been talking to a lot of people lately, to a lot of guys, and the discussion has been around a level of unfulfillment in life. Um, People who feel like there's something missing. As a matter of fact, spoke to someone recently who, very successful individual, got a lot going for him on the outside looking in. Everything looks great, but we had a genuine conversation. He says, I'm broken. I don't know how to get back on track. Marriage is not where it needs to be. I'm not performing at the level that I know I can in my business. I'm way off kilter, and I'm far away from being fulfilled. A lot of us wear this mask, man. I've done it, right? And with all of these people that I'm talking to, some who have become clients, some are who are just I'm just looking to help. We, as I dive deeper into why they feel the way they feel or how they got to this place, we undoubtedly every single time get to this place where the relationship with God has fallen off. These are people who've had a relationship with God. They believe in God, but that relationship has fallen off over time for whatever reason. And one of the questions that I oftentimes will ask is, what is your spiritual growth plan? Like, what do you do to maintain that relationship with God? And the answer is usually, I don't have one. Is really what it comes down to. And so, for something that is so vitally and critically important to our lives, and literally to every aspect of our lives, it is interesting how we have a plan for so many different things. We have a plan for retirement. We have a plan for work. We have a plan for our plans. We plan for so many different things, but for the one thing that has such a drastic and dramatic impact on all areas of life, oftentimes we don't have a plan. And listen, I don't say that in a condemning way. I get it. For the longest time, I didn't have a plan, which is how I fell off. So, I'm talking several years ago. I'm wearing the mask too, like we've gotten so good at. I'm succeeding in one area of life, in work and in business. But man, I was completely unfulfilled. And the success had come at too great of a cost for me. It came at the cost of my faith. It came at the cost of it was coming at the cost of my family and marriage. It was coming at the cost of my physical health. And because I didn't have a plan spiritually, all these other areas of life were breaking down, and only one area was I winning. Which, if you do the math on that, I'm net losing, right? Winning in one area of life, but losing in so many other areas of life. And if this sounds familiar, I can tell you this show is going to be for you. Now, here's what when I was in that space, I just remember I came to the conclusion. I was like, I got to do something to get back on track. I've got to do something to be fulfilled, because I've climbed this Mount Everest of success, got there, and the view doesn't look nearly like I thought it would. And I'm not nearly as fulfilled as I would be. So I got to figure this out. And I remember trying to piecemeal together what it would look like to get on this path, to get on the right path, to be spiritually developed and to grow. I didn't know how to do it. So I was really trying to, kind of piecemeal stuff. I started going to men's Bible study. I was extremely intimidated by the Bible. So, because I grew up Catholic. Nothing against my my Catholic friends out there, but we just don't read the Bible a lot. And so I was intimidated by that. Didn't know how to read it. Didn't know how to study it. And so I just kind of started going to men's Bible study. I eventually reached out to a friend of mine. Thank you, Sean, for walking with me. And I remember at that time he told me, he said, man, you need to buy this book and you need to meet in my office on Thursday. And I remember just being like, oh, thank you. Like, it was finally some level of structure to get, it finally like some level of structure and plan for my spiritual growth, because I didn't know how to do it. And that's what I was looking for. And over time, I finally got this structure and plan that I have now, which we're going to talk about, that has allowed me to, as a result of implementing this plan consistently in my life, I have seen dramatic results in all other areas of life. And the reason I talk so passionately about this is because, if you were to focus on one thing, if you were to literally focus on one thing in life, if I could tell you just to focus on one thing to get everything better, it would be your spiritual growth and development. That's it. To get a sound way to develop a close relationship with God. Because He's the answer to everything. Spoiler alert, the answer is always going to be God. So my life changed drastically as a result of finally getting a plan together. Okay. I was talking to one of my clients recently, very successful, high achieving guy, high energy. He had gotten to a point, at a point in his life where, despite the fact that he was really winning at a high level, making a lot of money in his business, he also had a job at the same time. I don't know why he kept the job, because he was doing so well in his business. But he and I were talking recently, and he was like, he said this. I'm gonna steal this from him. He said, if I'm not connected to the source, if I'm not connected to God, I'm no good. If I'm not connected to the source, I'm no good. And all it did was confirm for me what I already know, is that if we don't have a plan, if we don't have a plan for our spiritual growth, we don't have a shot at fulfillment. And we've done so much planning for all these other areas of life. I mean, we got plans for college funds, we got plans for retirement, we've got plans for vacation more than we have plans for how to grow spiritually. And so I want to help. I want to help you. My concern is this, is that if we don't create some structure around a plan for spiritual growth and development, my concern is really this, is that without that, we will fail to experience fulfillment. We will fail to perform at our best in life. We will fail to fulfill our God-given potential. We will experience great regret by the time this life is over. We will fail to carry out our purpose. We will fail to have significant impact, and the impact in the lives of other people that you are supposed to create. That's fulfillment. And my concern is that if we don't do what I'm going to talk about today, that's going to happen. Quite honestly, my overall concern is that so many of us don't have this, that this is partly one of the reasons why I feel like we, as believers, as we call ourselves believers, people who believe in Christ, why we aren't experiencing results, or what has been called fruit. Why we're not experiencing great fruit in life, right? And so I want to share with you the plan that I came up with. And it, it's everything I'm going to talk about is rooted biblically. And I didn't know this until after the fact. What I had to do was create a plan in my faith for what had worked in areas outside of my faith. Meaning, and not outside of my faith, because our faith really involves every aspect of our life. But what I'm saying is, I had to approach my faith in the same way I did getting results in my health and fitness. I had to approach my faith the same way I approach getting results at work, the same way I did planning for retirement, and did planning for, my relationships, and did, planning for all these other areas of my life. I had to look at what created results consistently in other areas of my life, and how can I apply this in a performance-based way to my faith. And here is the conclusion that I came to. And what I'm going to share with you right now is, if you implement these areas that I'm going to talk about today as a plan in any area of your life, you will see results. Listen to what I just said. If you apply what I'm going to talk about right now to any area of life, I talk about the 7 pillars, right? The 7 pillars and areas of your life: your faith, your family life, which is marriage and kids, your health, wealth, career, and your calling. The seventh one is personal interest. But if you apply what I'm talking about right now to any area of life, you will see results. I can virtually guarantee you will see results. And the one pillar, which is the most important, is our faith. When I combine these performance principles I'm going to talk to you about right now to create a plan, every other area of life changed. So I don't care if you are overweight or not where you want to be in your health. I don't care if you are not where you want to be in your wealth. I don't care if you are not where you want to be in your relationships. Again, if you focus on doing what I'm about to say in your faith, other areas of life should experience change. So there's four things. First thing and they all begin with the letter C. I had to have some level of curriculum. Okay. And what I mean by that is anytime I've had structured knowledge in the form of curriculum, I learn. So I had to get some sort of like plan to where I was reading something or listening to something that was helping me grow spiritually. So I was either starting to read the Bible or I was listening to podcasts. I started getting curriculum as it relates to my faith. The next thing is I got coaching. Now, coaching for me is a broad term for finding someone with the results who has experienced the results that I'm looking for and having them walk with me to share with me how they did it. You see, this happened for me in medical school. I got curriculum. I had to do the didactic. I had to read, but I also had to get coaching from doctors who were already practicing, who would show me how to implement the stuff that I'm reading. So I got a coach. I got a mentor, somebody who could show me how to walk this thing, how to walk out faith, things that I had to do. There were things that I had to do. I had to learn how to pray. I had to pray. I had to pray daily. I had to read and get some of this curriculum daily. I had to read the word daily. There's a practical side of faith that has to happen, and a good coach showed me that. The next thing, the third thing, is community. I had to have community. Community creates an environment for support, encouragement, more learning, and growth. Iron sharpens iron, right? So I had to get in community. That was part of the Bible study that I was doing. And as all these things came together, I started to create a spiritual growth and development plan that included consistent curriculum, consistent coaching, and consistent community. On the other side of that was results. On the other side of that was growth. On the other side of that was better health. Got in the best shape of my life. Got my marriage started to get better. I became a better husband, which is why the marriage got better. I needed to work on me. My relationship with my kids got better because I became a better father. The everything moved because of that. It's not that there was not challenges. Let me make this clear. If you have a spiritual growth and development plan, it doesn't mean that you don't have challenges. What it means is that you know how to overcome challenges and crises along the way. And not only survive during crisis, but thrive. Because one thing that is guaranteed to happen in this life is there are going to be trials. But how are you going to deal with them? Do you have a spiritual growth and development plan? And last but not least, this one is unique for the spiritual growth and development plan, is the fourth one: confidential communication. Do you have somebody that you can talk to and be straight up real with? Somebody that you can trust? Somebody that you can call and be like, yo, like things are way off kilter, without feeling like you're getting judged, without having a space and a place to be able to communicate genuinely authentic and be vulnerable and confess what's happening. Then it's going to be difficult to grow. It's going to be virtually impossible. So, in your spiritual growth and development plan, it needs to include confidential communication where you can trust that communication. And let me tell you, if you do these four things consistently, which is going to be curriculum, coaching, community, and confidential communication, I, I, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. What's on the other side of that is immense life change. Everything that you've been looking for is immense life change. Results are inevitable. Listen to what I'm telling you. Results are inevitable in all areas of life. If there's an area of your life that you are struggling with, most of us are going to try to go right to that area and fix it. What I'm telling you is that if you can go to the source, like my client said, if you can go to the source, the answer is there. All right. So I want you to imagine, man. I mean, listen, I'm going to be real. Most of us, many of us are not at a place where we want to be, right? We're just not at a place where we want to be. And we're struggling with being fulfilled. And if that's the case, I'm telling you right now, many of us know we're just not where we need to be with God. And it's a path, it's a journey. I'm not saying what I'm saying right now condemning. I'm saying what I'm saying right now to say, I want to help with what worked for me that I know, which has been proven to work for other people as well. He's calling you, man. He's calling you because he's the source, he's the answer. But you got to have a plan. And without a plan, it's tough. It's tough to make this happen. It's tough to make this work. So what I'm hoping is that what I share with you today will at least give you a framework of how to approach this. And listen, if there's something I can do to help you develop a plan, let me know. Let me know. All right. But at the end of the day, he's the answer. We got to have a plan for it, just like we have plans for so many other areas of life. All right, fellas.